Hello, Taylor Elwood here, and welcome to the Sovereign Submission podcast. It's been a little while since I've recorded one of these episodes. I took a month off because my beloved was visiting me, and I wanted to make some time to just be with her because I don't get to see her very often in person. But I'm back, and I thought I would start up this episode with talking about men's health. This is a topic that I think a lot of men tend to avoid, and it's one which is really important, especially as we get older. I'm going to be turning 50 a little bit later this year, and this was the first year that I got a colonoscopy. I decided to get a colonoscopy this year because I'd never had one. I knew that I was in the age range for starting to get those. I'd gone and used Cologuard in the past, and that had been, good, but it's like 99% accurate, but it's basically not 100%. And I thought to myself, I've never done this procedure. And part of me is like, I don't want to do this procedure. And I'm going to make myself go do this procedure. So I did. I am so glad that I did. To be clear, I got perfect results. No, I don't have to go back for another 10 years. Yay me. But the reason I'm glad that I went and did it is because I had a few preconceptions about what the experience was going to be like. And those preconceptions about what the experience was going to be like had been what had held me back from doing it any earlier than I had. I had this idea that it was going to be very painful. I had this idea that maybe I would end up discovering something I didn't want to know about my health, and that I would then have to deal with it. Let me just say, for the record, that putting your head in the sand is never a solution. And a lot of men tend to do this with their health. I've done it for a long time. I can safely say there's still, like, I'm right now, I've scheduled a couple of other medical appointments because I'm taking a look at some things that I probably should have had looked at a lot sooner than I have. Because it was easy to just, at the time, it was easy to just say, oh, well, it's dry skin, or it's something else, or like it'll eventually take care of itself. But here's the truth: our health doesn't take care of itself unless we take care of it. So one of the reasons I wanted to record this episode and just have this very frank conversation is the importance of really making time to take a look at your health and improve it. And really, this episode could be for both men and women, honestly, because I'm sure there are women who also don't take a good look at their health sometimes, or they put it off, or whatever else. But I'm going to speak to my perspective as a man in this thing. So that's what I'm speaking to. And so if it speaks to you, I'm glad. And use it as an opportunity to take an honest assessment of yourself and where you are in relationship to what you know about your health. Now, I see someone join me. Welcome, Sheena. Glad to have you here. Feel free to leave any questions or comments if you want to. Let's just take a moment. I'm going to take a moment here and breathe. Let's breathe for a moment. So, self-care is one of the pillars of the Sovereign Submission Code, the Sovereign Code for sovereign submissive men. And it's a really important one, because we can't take care of other people very well if we aren't taking care of ourselves. what I would observe is that a lot of time, what I've observed about myself and also other men, is that a lot of times men will focus on putting on providing, on taking care of things, and they won't take care of themselves emotionally, mentally, physically, energetically, spiritually, all of them, all of it. The question you have to ask yourself is, what is that costing you? And just as importantly, what is it costing other people in your life to not take care of yourself? And there's a relational component here. Self-care isn't just about, oh, I'm taking care of myself. It is about it is about recognizing, like, there is, like, when I take care of myself, I am also telling my partner, my lover, my wife, husband, whatever your particular orientation is, or if you have multiple lovers or any of that stuff, right? What you are essentially doing is you are saying, I care enough about all of you, or about you, to take care of myself so that you know that I'm taking care of myself. And I think that this is maybe part of the missing message that sometimes can be used, is that if nothing else, if a man's like, oh, well, no, I just gotta, I'll manage it, I'll be fine. Being able to say, well, wait a minute, I need you to take care of yourself so that I know that you're okay, can be a really powerful message. Now, I want to be clear, it is not anyone else's responsibility to ultimately make sure that a given man takes care of himself. Even being in a relationship with somebody, at the end of the day, ultimately, the responsibility is each person needs to take care of themselves. Ideally, they're taking care of each other as well. I think that's important. When you love someone, you ought to want to, ideally you do want to take care of them. I also think it's just as important to acknowledge that learning how to take care of ourselves is a really important action. In my particular case, I also sit with the reality that, like, I don't have any kids. My self-care is very important, in the sense that, like, someday as I get older, I'm not going to necessarily have um you know kids to help me out with things. I I currently work at a job right now. It's interesting. Like, I end up talking with a lot of people who are older, and I'm helping them get paired up with healthcare advocates and things like that. And I think one of the things that really stands out to me sometimes is, like, how at least some of what I hear probably could have been avoided, or could have been changed, or whatever else, if people took more proactive steps with their health. So it's really important that we take care of ourselves. Our self-care is a sign of love for ourselves, also, but also love for the people in our lives. It's also about really being in the know. When I went to the colonoscopy earlier this month, first of all, I'll just say this: whatever preconceptions you have about the colonoscopy, the hardest part, honestly, is the prep. And even that's not that hard. I mean, you're drinking something I don't particularly don't enjoy. Don't. I'm glad I don't have to do it for another 10 years. I'll put it that way. Um, but it's all designed to it basically helps you get cleared out, so to speak, so you're ready for them to go in and take a look and make sure that everything is good. I was sedated before I went into the procedure, and by the time I came out of the procedure, I mean, other than feeling a little bit discombobulated for the rest of that day, I was I was good. More importantly, I came out the other side with the knowledge that, in fact, my health, like, that I'm good down there. Like, I don't need to, I don't have anything to worry about for the moment. Of course, things can change, but it felt really good to be able to know, like, oh, I'm not, I don't have to worry about this. I'm healthy. I'm clean and clear. So I want you to take a moment and think about your own health situation. What's something that you've been putting off? What's something that maybe you haven't even that you've been ignoring, or that you're not being fully 100% in integrity with, that you need to deal with. And I'll share myself as an example. My feet. My feet lately have been hurting me a bit, and I wasn't really. I mean, part of it is I have some cracked skin there and everything else, so I need to take better care of my feet, right? And I've been taking good care of the cracks and stuff like that. But what I haven't been doing is I've been managing the symptoms, not really dealing with the cause. So recently, I made the decision. It kind of got brought to my attention that I needed to speak up about this, so I did. And I was like, all right, I'll get an appointment scheduled. So I did. So I got an appointment scheduled with my doctor for next month, and from there, hopefully, we'll go and see a foot specialist or whatever and get things taken care of that way. And I share that because it's so easy to put something off, to ignore it, but then someday it won't be ignored. And I think that a better approach is to be proactive and say, well, what is it that I need to take a look at with my health that I haven't been? Like, is there a pain in part of my body? Is there something going on that I need to be honest about with myself and with other people? And look, there's nothing wrong if there is. It's just like, it's really important to do. I'm really glad that I'm starting to take better care of myself and that I'm seeing where I need to work on, like, my health, and on how I can be more proactive. So I hope that as you watch this later on today or tomorrow or whenever it is that you watch it, that you really do an inventory for yourself and ask yourself, what is it I need to be paying attention to? And I want to limit health to just that. I mean, part of health is also about, like, how, like self-care isn't just like, oh, like suddenly pulling your head out of the sand and being like, oh, there's these conditions I need to be paying attention to. Like, that's important. Or I need to schedule this procedure because I want to make sure I know what's going on with my body. That's important too. But part of it is also about, I want to be making better choices with what I eat, with how I take care of myself, things like that. You know, I think it's really an important component that a lot of times we need to take care of aspects of our health and our life that we don't pay attention to because we're just doing our own thing, and we're like, oh, I'm just going to go along, and and things will be the same. It'll always be this way, and it won't be always this way. One of the reasons that I pretty much quit drinking alcohol altogether was because I was like, I don't need to have this in my life. I'm basically poisoning my body. That's why I don't smoke. It's why, I live, like some people would say, well, okay, that's your choice. That's fine. If I want to do it, I can do what I want to do. Yes, you can. You absolutely can. Just be aware of the impact and the choice, and be ready and willing to take responsibility for it, because you're the person who lives with it at the end of the day. And I think that that's really an important aspect of all this, is that we live with our choices, with all of them. This is something I've been thinking about a lot lately, because of I've been reading this book, the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, and I read this little interlude chapter about the integrity in one's life, and that chapter really hit home for me on a number of different levels, and I've still been pondering it quite a bit. So I share this with you, like really like look at being in integrity with yourself, like with your health, be in integrity with who you are, with who you want to be. Honor that. That's just as important as anything else you could be doing. All right, thanks for watching and take care of yourselves. And if you have any questions, feel free to leave those in the post.